And I am joined by WWE superstar and one half of the Street Profits, my man, Angelo Dawkins, who is a massive Ohio State Buckeyes fan. Man, how you doing over there jamming?
Oh, man, I'm doing good. How about yourself, fam?
I'm good, brother. I'm good. I really appreciate this. I've been excited about this, and I want to get started with this. Let's introduce you to this college football audience. First, how long you been working in sports entertainment? How'd you get started?
So I've been working in sports entertainment since 2012. So I got recruited out of college. I wrestled in college. I played football at college as well, Harper College. And so I got recruited at a wrestling tournament by Jerry Briscoe. He wanted to talk to me. I thought my coaches were joking around with me when they told me, hey, Vince's right-hand man wants to come talk to you, and I'm getting ready for a match too. And I'm just like, all right, man, whatever, get out of here. And so like they're trying to like convince me because they always be trying to play jokes on everybody. And they were pretty big pranksters. So then I wrestle, I win. I'm coming back, I'm breathing hard. Next thing you know, Jerry Briscoe's right next to me. He's like, hey, how you doing? I'm Jerry Briscoe from WWE. I was like, oh, snap. Y'all not lying. Okay, cool. But yeah, like, I mean, that's pretty much how, like, he ended up getting me a tryout, and then I just never looked back from there.
Nah, man, that's real cool because I gotta wonder, right? Like, what else is it that you think they're thinking about? Because one of the things that I think you're great at is being on the mic, right? You can't see that from your ability. You got to talk to you for that. So are you cognizant of that? Are you cognizant that he's trying to get your cadence down?
In a way. It's interesting sometimes because nobody expects that from me, and I hide it pretty well. So like, and also I have a tag partner that talks a lot. He's just always out there all the time. So I'm like the laid back one, and that's what helps our dynamic so much because you can't really have two crazy out there in your face type guys. I'm more the like laid back. I represent the guys that are like rock house shoes and sweatpants out. You know what I'm saying? He's the guy that'll rock a tuxedo to McDonald's when we just going to grab a burger or something.
Yeah, man, your man Montez Ford, he be out there. He got the mic skills though. I give him that. He got the mic skills. I appreciate that. All right. So do you remember the match where it felt like you and Montez got over with the WWE audience?
Man. I have to say Brooklyn.
Okay.
2019 when we faced Murphy and Seth Rollins for the Raw Tag Team Championships.
So, and, what was the reception like? Like,
it was nuts because like we wrestled in Brooklyn, I believe the year before, and this was like while we were in NXT as well. So we wrestled there before, and it was like right before NXT TakeOver, one of NXT's pay-per-views. And so like we wrestled right before, and the crowd was pretty receptive. But then like fast forwarded a full year later, pretty much, we're there, we're in the spotlight, we're going for the tag titles, and Brooklyn was just behind us. And like it literally, like Tez started, we had a promo right before the match. And the very first thing that came out of Tez's mouth was, where Brooklyn at? Where Brooklyn at? And then they started going nuts. And then they just been with us from ever since then. It was just like, oh, snap, we got these dudes.
Nah, man. Hey, look, when the heat is like that from the crowd, I got to feel like you're going to give one of your best performances, whether you know it or not.
Oh, yeah.
How did you feel when you got back to the locker room?
Oh, man, I felt relieved. I felt pumped. I almost wanted to go back out there and wrestle again. Like it was like that. Like that's what the crowd noise and crowd energy brings. Like it just brings that adrenaline out of you, brings that emotion out of you, brings that, all right, we got to put on the show, man. They behind us, bro. We got to go out there and we got to handle business and do our thing, because if we don't and they behind us, man, it's going to be a rough one. But like if we go out there and we show out, you know what I'm saying, like we capable of, and the crowd is with us the whole time. The crowd went nuts because we ended up winning that match, and we ended up becoming Raw Tag Team Champions that day. And they were just nuts. And it was just like, man, they go, I could go back out there and wrestle again. Like that's how live it was that day.
Man, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I think that's as close to the atmosphere at the shoe as it's probably gonna be when it feels that hype. Have you been to a game at the shoe?
Yes, I have.
Okay, do you remember the first game that you saw at the shoe?
So the very first game, I remember going to the shoe was Michigan State 2007, 2008 season where Beanie Welch rushed for 222 yards. And it was actually a game that we were dominating, and Michigan State almost came back, and we were like, whoa, wait. We had to play trussle ball, dot that out with Beanie Wells real quick. Like, hey, dog, let's keep handing that ball off real quick. Let's not get too pretty because Michigan State was starting to come back on us.
Man, shout out Beanie Wells, friend of the show. I got to meet him for, this game that I got to bring up for Ohio State, Michigan this year.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna go ahead and get this one out the way. What do you expect from Michigan in the Orange Bowl against Georgia?
I mean, quite honestly, if I'm gonna be very unbiased right now, I'll say I think it's gonna be a great game. Because you got Georgia coming off his first loss when everybody thought they were gonna dominate Bama, and Nick Saban came out and said, "Man, that rat poison y'all gave out was yummy." But now we get to see Georgia be a little bit more motivated now. But the QB situation between both of them, Stetson Bennett and JT Daniels, that's going to be interesting to see who takes over at center. But I think like Aiden Hutchinson, like he's going to be a dude off the edge, and it's going to be very interesting to watch the defense, and it's going to be very interesting to see Georgia's defense and see how they contain Haskins and Corum. And all those dudes on the line, because their O-line they were pushing Ohio State around. I can't even lie.
Well, hey, look, I keep trying to tell people, Michigan ain't got no Bryce Young back there. Like, much as we like JJ and we like Cade, that dude won the Heisman Trophy is different. And he showed that against a team that we all did think was going to dominate Alabama. We thought that Georgia was going to stop a mud hole and walk it dry. But I got to take it back again. How did you feel watching Michigan run on Ohio State when we all knew that they were going to try to run the ball on Ohio State?
Well, I kind of felt like my belief going into the game, I'm like, okay, our defense kind of woke up a little bit since the Oregon game. So I'm like, okay, we're getting better each and every week. And then we started putting on dominating performances. Our offense was clicking. But I knew it was going to be a day where, like, all right, we're going to really need the defense. And then once it starts snowing, I was like, this is going to be very interesting to see. And sure enough, because anytime Harbaugh's tried to run the ball, we've been able to, that was a non-worry for us, for Ohio State at all. The front seven, unreal. Our DBs, even more unreal. But to see that happen, it was hurtful because I had a lot of people waiting at the show that day for me because we had a live event. So, and then not only that, we have a camera guy who's a big Team Up North fan, and so we make a bet every year, all right, we'll get like a drink or something and put it on. We're like, all right, whoever loses got to pay up. Freaking. For the first time in a while, I had to pay up, and then I had to rock a stinking Michigan jersey for the whole day while we were at Raw. And yeah, it was the first time I ever experienced that in a long time,
No, man, it's been since 2011. Like, we've been talking about this, and on my end, right, I'm go ahead and commiserate. I expect Oklahoma State to beat Oklahoma. Like, we run that. Like, it's not even a rivalry. It's a series. At least y'all got something like a rivalry. Like, you can remember stretches when Michigan was good. I can't remember no stretches where Oklahoma State was good.
Don't get me wrong. Okay, Michigan in the 90s, they were all right.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And now, this year happened. They beat Ohio State. They got their chest out a little bit. You know what I'm saying? They saying they arrived. Now we're all of a sudden hearing that Michigan is the winningest program in college football history. And you know what? They are right. I always say a dead clock is right twice a day. They just so happen to be right twice in a decade, and that's what makes it good. It kind of feels like a rivalry again because now they have a win where they can brag about that wasn't when pterodactyls roamed the sky, when Harvard, Yale, and Dartmouth weren't powerhouses, you know what I'm saying? When the very first Heisman Trophy winner wasn't from Chicago, the University of Chicago, So now it's starting to get okay, now we can kind of talk back to each other a little bit. But last time they won, they kept saying they were back. And what happened? The following years to come, it's going to happen because now everybody's talking smack. You know, Jim Harbaugh throwing out those little shots, Josh Gaddis throwing out those little shots. Little do they know, Ryan Day cooking up something right now. You know what I'm saying? Ryan Day is cooking. He's in the lab cooking right now. Yeah, he's worried about the Rose Bowl, but he is cooking.
No,
that
man.
November matchup.
Look, man, I keep trying to tell folks over and over again, like, they'll be back. And if nothing else, they're going to use the Rose Bowl as a launching pad. And I want to talk about that specifically. It's a good Utah football team over there, right? There are already rumors about whether or not Kyle Whittingham is going to come back for 2022. So they might be a little bit more gassed up than normal. What do you expect from Ohio State in that game?
I expect them to come out and play good old, nice, lovely Buckeye football, you know, get that taste of that loss out their mouth. You know what I'm saying? I know that it's hard. It ain't the college football playoff. And like now those big bowl games that used to kind of mean something about like six years ago don't really have that much cachet to them now due to the playoff. But since it's the Rose Bowl, it's still one of the pageantries of college football. And everybody knows it. And everybody's going to be watching it. And if Utah has that kind of motivation, I mean, you got to remember, Ohio State had that kind of motivation last time they were in the Rose Bowl when Urban was leaving. So, I mean, hey, you never know. So hopefully Ohio State comes out, punches them in the mouth, and then Utah just says, hey, we quit. We good. You know what I'm saying? Hey, it's been real cool cutting him. You know what I'm saying? It's been real good, man. Hey, thank you. OH, baby. Yeah.
Well, hey, look, you a native Ohioan, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you grown up a Buckeyes fan. So I feel like you have a good answer for this. Being we're about the same age too. Like, who's your favorite Buckeye of all time?
Ooh, man. That is a tough question. If I got to go, I'm going to go with an answer that, like, because I'm going to go with when I could finally actually comprehend football enough to, like, because I was playing it at the time. I got to go Troy Smith. It's between Troy Smith and Ted Ginn, and it's between Ted Ginn, Troy Smith, Gonzo, and Santonio Holmes.
Oh man, look, I'm with all of those. Not the least of which is the last Heisman winner that Ohio State had.
Man,
my man, your man, Troy Smith, but also in there, like you tried to sneak it past me in that Santonio Holmes. Dude was cold. Like,
he was so good. I was hoping that he didn't leave early. It came back, and it would have been the same thing that we had with Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, and Jackson Smith and Jigma. You got Gonzo, Ginn, and Santonio Holmes in the back. And then not only that, you also had Brian Hartline on the team, Brian Rubisky. Like, man, it was Antonio Pittman and Beanie Wells toting the rock with Troy Smith right there.
Hey, man,
nasty offense.
I was sleeping on Hartline for the longest time. I've been like, this dude.
Yeah.
Then he tried to show me what he was doing. Now he really trying to show me what he up to as a receivers coach. Like, for me.
Oh, he in his bag.
Man, right? All right, so let's lay it out here, right? You got Olave, you got Wilson, you got JSN, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. This is the best receiving core that Ohio State has ever produced, and that's not saying a lot in the grand scheme of things because it's been a running football program for so long. But then when you look at the records that they have been breaking and the chance for all three of those dudes to go over 1,000 yards, did you expect to ever see an aerial attack, the likes of which CJ Stroud, even throw in Travion Henderson in there with those three?
Right. Man, honestly, not really, because they were so run heavy, it wasn't even funny. And then there was a point in time where like they were struggling to get the ball through the air. And I remember like the years of like Maurice Claret, his freshman year, like when he went down, and we still had Mike Jenkins, obviously, but then we had like Chris Gamble, the ultimate Iron Man football player for Ohio State that year. But like to see that offense and like that aerial attack plus a rushing attack with the quarterback like that, that's honestly, I'll say like since Terry Glenn, Demetrius Stanley, and David Boston, I believe, and like outside of Troy Smith, Ginn, and Gonzo, but like we've had the talent. It's just like never really been like, oh, okay, cool. Let's just use all of them. Usually it's like everybody's good, but usually it's like one or two dudes that kind of is like the head honcho. Like, for instance, you'll drop back, hand it off to Maurice Claret, and then you'll have Mike Jenkins. That'll be like your two main guys that you're going to feed. Now it's like they're spreading the wealth here. Because not only that, like you got a bunch of other receivers that are about to get in next year probably. And it's just like that whole receiving room is deep. That running back room is nasty. The quarterbacks, they're young. They're coming back next year. It's going to be – that offense is nasty, man.
Yeah, man. And y'all made a change in defensive coordinator, right?
Mm-hmm.
Actually picked up Oklahoma State's former defensive coordinator in Jim Knowles, try to get that defense back to the kind that you had in 2019 with Jeff Hafley. But watching the Heisman Trophy presentation and seeing CJ Stroud be there after knowing what the battle was, you had Quinn Ewers back there in that depth chart. Kyle McCord is going to be back. Jack Miller since transferred to Florida.
Yep.
Did you expect CJ to be as good as he has been this season, especially the way that it started against Minnesota?
I didn't expect the numbers that he had, but I thought he was going to be pretty decent. I thought he was going to be pretty good. I mean, you got to remember, Ryan Day is a QB wizard, man. He's a guru back there. He was brought in to Ohio State to change the passing game when we were having a little struggles with JT Barrett, and he turned JT Barrett into a pretty persistent passer as well. And but man, like I was like, he didn't throw a college pass last year, so it's going to be very interesting. But like I said, we got the receivers to like get him through that. Easy, quick throws to start it off. He got a little rough. Like it was a Thursday night game against a conference foe. Like that's gonna happen, especially for a 19-year-old that hasn't really thrown. And everybody thought like, oh, he can't run. Well, people forget. Homeboy went for like a 52-yarder against Michigan State last year. I mean, even in the game, he had like a nice little scramble for a TD. It came back because of a questionable holding call, but he's still like he ran when he needed to. And like he's a quarterback. He's trying to find the open man. The less he had to run, the better. I like Justin Fields. I love JT Barrett. I love Braxton Miller. I loved all those dudes, but like Dwayne Haskins was unreal, but he wasn't a runner. He started to run a little bit towards the end. CJ Stroud, the same thing. Like he was waiting till the possible last minute. If he had to run, all right, cool. He was going to take it and he gained yards off of it. But looking the way that he played with the poise that he had was unreal, man. Like I thought he was going to be really good. Heisman finalist, I really wasn't expecting it, but I thought he was going to be good regardless.
No, man, I've been a CJ Stroud fan from the jump. Just his story is one that I really enjoy, right? Just the way that he rose through recruiting, going through Elite 11, and eventually landing that offer from Ryan Day and Ohio State. But it's also, speaking of what you already know about Ryan Day and being aggressive and pushing that ball down the field and wanting to score and to use those receivers in the ways that they have, but also his ability to marry it with the run game. Now, another dude that I was extremely excited about coming into this year was Travion Henderson. I kept trying to yell to everybody, this dude from Hopewell, Virginia.
Yeah.
He's elite. He's some version of Christian McCaffrey to me, but I don't know if that's selling him short or overselling it. You tell me, which is it?
I mean, so I've heard between Christian McCaffrey and Reggie Bush. So, and it was like, I remember you talked to Big E before, and me and Big E, we always like talking. And I was like, man, they keep saying Travion. I was like, Reggie. He's like, whoa, let's calm down. You know what I'm saying? Let's calm down. He's still a freshman. I get it. He's good. He's highly touted. I know he sat out, or I think he got injured his senior year of high school, if I'm not mistaken. And that's why he ended up. Yeah, he sat out. Okay. I thought he sat out.
They canceled high school football in Virginia that year.
Okay, cool. But like, yeah, and like it took him a little bit to get his legs under him, even though he like darted for a 77-yard screen in that Minnesota game. But it still took him a little bit to like, oh man, I haven't played ball in a year. Like I got to still get my legs under me, because Mayan Williams, he showed he can run the rock. He's a Cincinnati kid too, so like I know all about him. And he showed that he can run the rock behind Trey Sermon and Master Teague last year, and he was starting off as a starter this year. And they had Master Teague, and I was like, I got a feeling they're going to use Travion in the pass game. And lo and behold, Travion became an all-purpose back.
Hey, man, look.
That man is –
He is doing things that I didn't expect anybody to be able to do at Ohio State as a true freshman. As a running back.
Maurice Claret's freshman record, right?
I'm so excited to see what he is capable of doing, given just 2 more years of being in the system and being the dude that is 7.5 yards deep. No disrespect to Mayan or to Evan, any of those dudes. Even Master, who I thought was going to be the starter going into this year, shows you just how talented they are. But you mentioned Cincinnati kid, and you are from Cincinnati, right?
Mm-hmm.
I got to ask you, dog, what do you think about the Bearcats being in this playoff, represent for the G5? You got two teams here.
Hey, look, they there. They better show out. I mean, hey, look, I'm torn because, like, all right, cool. Now Cincinnati Bearcat fans are talking about we the real Ohio team in Ohio. I'm like, whoa. Pump your brakes. Pump your brakes. Like, hey, I'm happy for y'all, but let's pump our brakes. We know who really run Ohio. Even though I'm from Cincinnati, I got love for the Bearcats. I have friends that played ball for Cincinnati. So, like, I'm happy for them. I'm rooting for them to beat Bama. I hope they show out because, like, I feel like they do need to kind of expand the playoff to allow those, like, group of 5 teams to get in and have a chance at least because, like, you got to reward the undefeated seasons. You know what I'm saying? Especially if they go undefeated, back-to-back conference champs, they're on a, like, 24-game win streak. Oh, no, they lost to Georgia in the bowl game.
They lost Georgia Peach Bowl.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What was it? They're on a 12-game winning streak. So, like, they lost. I mean, they won 24 out of 25.
But see, this is the thing. I would help you out with this. Take it back to the regular season. The last time they lost a regular season game is November 29th, 2019. Okay.
That to UCF?
No, that was Memphis. It's Memphis. Right, because then they get into the championship game against Memphis because they ran it back. Right. Now, I mean, ain't no like who's gonna know that except the dude that's watching college football games all the time. Like, do not beat yourself up for that. Why would you even need to know that? I'm saying.
I was like, man. I was like, it was one of those teams.
Oh, but no, like, I think it also speaks to the quality of football because, you know, Lou Fickell has been loud about this as well. He was the position coach for Coach Tressel, right? Had that year where he settled the team, got it right for that undefeated run in 2012 for Urban and whatnot. And then Marcus Freeman, new head coach at Notre Dame. I mean, you got tentacles all over the sport now and in big time situations. I mean, shout out to Luke Fickell, who also won the Coach of the Year award. I got to ask you, which of that Ohio State staff are you most coveting outside of Ryan Day? Like, who on the staff are you like, we can't let this dude go nowhere?
Ooh. Man. If I had to, I'm going to say Brian Hartline. And, man, it's a mix between Larry Johnson and Kerry Combs for recruiting because Kerry Combs is like he gets those guys. Like he something about his energy is nuts. Like I played at Fairfield while he was still at Coleraine High School, so he was the head coach there, and I seen like his energy, and he's just unreal, and kids gravitate to it, man. And, like, I feel like those are especially the guys that can recruit really well and they can develop players really well. You can't let those guys go by any means. I'll even say Tony Alford too. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, he recruits too. He recruits very well, and he turns them into beasts, turns them into dogs.
Man, look, I gotta say, what Larry Johnson decides to recruit and develop is anybody that I want in the NFL, right? So, like, I'm with you. I could also see Brian Hartline, who it looks like is going to put 2 wide receivers in the first round of the NFL draft for the first time since 2007 Ohio State. And I don't know if you know this, but y'all haven't had a first-round draft pick at wide receiver since 2007. Yeah. And that's long enough ago that Anthony Gonzalez is like a congressman now. You know, like he was one of them dudes. So y'all are due. Like everybody's like Marco Thomas. I'm like, nah, he didn't get drafted
second or third round.
Yeah, right. So it's wild for me to think about it in those terms. All right, man. I got one more question for you before I let you get out of here. Tell me what is going down on January 1st of this year. Or this new year.
January 1st, day one. You know what I'm saying? WWE day one. You know what I'm saying? You're going to see a lot of superstars. We in the ATL, bringing in the new year right. You know what I'm saying? You got Migos in attendance there. know what I'm saying? You might see Migos with your boys. You never know. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Hey, yo, Quavo, what's good, fam?
I'm saying that.
Offset, what's good? You know what I'm saying? But yeah, like day one is happening. Got a bunch of matches on there. A lot of superstars that's about to show what they can do, bring in 2022 the right way, the best way possible. And that's in the squared circle, doing what we do best, putting on the show and bringing the smoke.
Hey, man, hey. Offset, Migos, show up with a red Solo cup or we rioting, okay? That's what I'm telling you. He's just telling you. This man here. That is my man, Angelo Dawkins, WWE superstar, one half of the Street Profits. My man, I've had such a good time with you. I'm so grateful that you did this with us.
Oh, thank you for having me, man. Thank you. This was a lot of fun.
Right on, dog. Thanks for watching this video. And remember, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any other videos on the #1 Ranked Show YouTube channel.